Alright, IRS. Note, the draft you're looking for begins on the next page. Caution draft not for following these early release draft of the IRS tax form instruction publication. IRS providing you for your information. Do not file draft forms. Do not rely on draft forms instruction publication for filing. Do not release draft forms run to believe that incorporated all changes except for explicitly stated on this cover sheet. However, the unexpected issue occasionally arises. Legislation is passed. In the case, we'll post a new draft on the form, and the alter users change will be made previously posted draft. Thus, there never ever change the last posted draft on a form, and the final revisions of the form instruction generally on the subject of the office management and budget approval before they can officially release, so that we post only drafts until they are approved. Drafts, instructions, and publications usually have some changes before they release. Early release drafts, IRS.gov draft forms remain there for about final release posted on IRS.gov latest forms. All information, all forms, instruction pubs, IRS.gov forms. Almost every publication page over the IRS Gov friendly shortcut for example, the 1040 page is the IRS Form 1040, Pub 501, Pub 501, W4, W4, and Schedule A, Form 1040, SR, and IRS.gov Schedule A. And type and linking above Institute instead of clicking on it. To be sure to type the link on the address bar of your browser, not a search box. If you wish, you can submit the comments to the IRS about the draft of final forms instruction publications, IRS.gov form comments. We cannot respond to all comments due to the high volume we receive. We are not able to consider the many suggestions until the subsequent revisions of the product. If you have comments producing paperwork and respondent filer burden will respect the draft and final forms, please respond to the relevant information. Collect the Federal Register process. For more information, click there. Alright, your enhanced oil recovery. Go to www.irs.gov form 8830 for the latest information tax return. Qualified enhanced oil costs. Multiple line 1 credit run shown instruction. Enhanced oil recovery credit for the partnership S corporations. For current year credit, add lines 2 and 3. Partnership and S corporation will report on amounts to Schedule K. Other reports. Amount Form 3800, Part 3, Line Item 1. General instructions. This is shows in the back. You can see it says the draft use of February 16, 2020. General instructions. Section references are Internal Revenue Code unless otherwise noted. Future development. If the latest information development related with the 8830 instructions such as legislation enacted about after this form, instructions were given and published IRS.Form 8830. What's new? Credit availability. Section 43 enhanced recovery credibility completely phased out of tax years beginning with 2019 and 2020. But available rates at 15% of the tax years beginning 2021 per notice at 2021 47. Due to generally high prices of crude oil, the credit is usually completely phased out. Find out if the credit is applicable or phased out of the tax years beginning in 2022 or later. Go to IRS.gov.form 8830. Future revisions. Due to generally unchanged nature, Form 8830 it no longer be updated annually unless necessary. Purpose of this form: use Form 8830 for the claim of enhanced oil recovery credit. The credit is part of the general business credit, and owner of the operating mineral interest may claim and elect with no or not to claim the credit any time within 3 years from the due date, excluding the extension of the return to either the original or amended the return. Partnership and S corporation must file with the form to claim the credit. All other taxpayers aren't required to complete or file with the form. Only source of the credit is partnership or S corporations. Instead, they can report the credit directly on the form 3800 General Business Credit Part 3 Line 1T. Amount of credit. The credit is generally 15% qualified cost for the tax year, reduced with completely phased out when the reference price barrel of the crude oil is more than base value of the 28 adjusted inflation adjustment factor of the calendar year. Definition: quality enhanced oil recovery cost means 1. Any amount incurred during the tax year tangible property. A. The integral party of the qualified enhanced oil recovery project. B. For which depreciation or amortization is allowable. 2. Any tangible drilling development costs. A. They are paid incurred connection qualified enhanced recovery project. B. From which the taxpayer made election under Section 26(3)(c) for any integrated oil company that includes intangible drilling costs required to be amortized under Section 29(1)(b). Any qualified hereditary injection expenses defined in Section 193(b). paid and incurred connection with the qualified enhanced oil recovery project for which the deductions allowable the tax year of the qualified territory injection expense includes expenditures related to even the hereditary injection as well. Expenditures related with the acquisition, whether produced acquired by purchase of the hereditary injection, however, it does not include costs which have been paid and incurred by the development and operation of mineral property of the enhanced oil project that has not been implemented with respect to the property costs that related to the use of the hereditary injection. Are also related to the other activities. Example, the primary and secondary recovery must reasonably allocated among the hereditary injection and other activities determine the amount of the hereditary injection expense paid and incurred for the tax year. For the most details, see Revision Rule 2003-82, 2003-30 IRB 125. For any amount incurred during the tax year to construct an Alaskan natural gas plant with the meaning of the section 43C1D and 43C5. Qualified Enhanced Oil Recovery Project means any project involved with an application of one or more hereditary recovery methods defined in this section. 193B are listed below that can be reasonably expected to result more than an insignificant increase of the amount of crude oil that will ultimately be recovered. Project must be located in the United States, include the seabed subsoil adjacent to the territorial waters of the United States, over which the United States has exclusive right of the international law exploration and exploitation of natural resources in section 6381. First injection liquid gases of the matter must begin in 1990. However, any significant expansion after 1990 of a project begun and before 1991 is treated as a project where the first injections begin after 1990. Additionally, the operator designated owner must file certification from petroleum engineer who is registered certified by the state that the project meeting the above requirement. The operator designated owner must also file the certificate in subsequent years indicating the project continues to be implemented substantially in accordance with the petroleum engineer certification. If the application hereditary recovery method is terminated, the operator and designated owner must file the notice of protection termination for the tax year when the project terminates and send these filings to Internal Revenue Services LB&I Enterprise Activity Practice Area and Tension Director's Office, 1919 Smith Street, Mail Stop 1003 HOU, Houston, Texas 77002. By the due date of the operator's design owner's federal income tax return, see Regulation Section 143.3 for the information required with the notice and certification. Hereditary recovery methods qualifying with the credit include miscible fluid displacement, steam-driven injection, micro-emulsion flooding, in-suit combustion, polymer augmented water flooding, cycle steam injection, alkaline flooding, carbonated water flooding, immiscible non-hydrocarbon gas displacement, any other method approved by the Secretary of the Treasury. Specific instruction for enhanced oil recovery credit for your own trade or business on lines 1 and 2. Skip lines 1 and 2 if you're only claiming credit was allocated to the forms S corporation or partnership. Line 1. Enter the total qualified costs paid and incurred during the year in connection qualified enhanced oil recovery project. See definitions earlier. Reduce otherwise allowable deductions. Line 1 cost, line 2 credit attributed to the cost, also for the name of the part. Line 1 cost expense for the increase of the basis property produced for the otherwise allowable the basis increase. Line 2 credit attributed to the cost. Line 2 tax years begin in 2021. Multiply line 1 by 15% and to find the applicable rate of the tax years go to irs.gov form 8830. Line 3, enter total enhanced oil recovery credits, Schedule K1, Form 1065, partner share income deduction credits, etc., Box 15, Code P, and Schedule K1, Form 1120S, shareholder share income deduction credits, etc., Box 13, Code P. Partnership S corporations must also report above credits on line 3. All other taxpayers report the above credits directly on Form 3800 by Part 3, Line 1T. Don't file Form 8330. Paperwork Reduction Act notice. We ask for information on the form or carry out the Internal Revenue Law of the United States. We're required to give this information we need to ensure that they comply with these laws and allow us to figure out the collect the right amount of tax. You're not required to provide information requested on a form that's subject to the paperwork reduction unless for the display of valid OMB control officer management budget control number book of records relating to a form or instruction must be retained as long as their contents become material in the Administration of Internal Revenue Law. Generally, tax returns or returns information confidential required in 61.3 6103. The time needed to complete with this form will, depending on individual circumstances, estimated burden, individual conversion, taxpayer filing forms approved with the Office of Management and Control number 1545-0074, 1545-0123, included with the estimate shown in the instruction of the individual business income. Return the estimated burden as all other the taxpayers who fails the form as shown and below. Record keeping 5 hours 15. Learn about law or form 53 minutes. Preparing and sending in form 1 hour and 1 minute. Heave commencement concerning accuracy of these times. Estimate with a suggestion for the making the form simpler. We would like a help. Happy to hear you from you. See your instruction for the tax return to which a form is filed. Alright, and that's filing for enhanced oil recovery credit. 8830.